Hello everyone, welcome to Payment Tech Video. In this video we will talk about IPv4 classes. So looking at the IP address, how can we tell if it belongs to class A, class B, or class C and so on. So stay tuned and let's take a look. Okay, now how do we know what IP address belongs to what class? Here we can see the ranges for class A. Looking at the first octet, these are the range. For class B, this is the range. Class C, this is the range. D and E, as we can see, these are the ranges in the first octet. For example, if we have IP address of, let's say, 192.168.1.32, so looking at the first octet, this is the first octet, 192. 192 falls into this range. Therefore, this is class C IP address. And the default subnet mask for class C is 255.255.255.0, as we can see here. And these ranges, where they're coming from, on other previous videos we talked about it a lot more in detail, so please make sure to watch those videos. And just remember, here we are talking about default subnet mask for class A, which is 255.0.0.0. For class B is 255.255.0.0. And default subnet mask for class C is 255.255.255.0. So here, as you can see in this column, these addresses known as dotted decimal format, and here prefix notation format or the CIDR notation format. And of course, for class D and E, as we talked about it earlier, we don't have subnet mask. So I'm going to write down another IP address. Let's say if we have IP address of 200.18.21. let's say 19. So if I ask you a question, looking at this IP address, what class is this? And what is the default subnet mask for that class? So 200. Very good. Same thing, falls into class C range, correct? Because class C range goes from 192 to 223. And 200, looking at the first octet, falls into this range. Therefore, this IP address, it's also part of class C network. And the subnet mask would be 255.255.255.0. And if I want to write down the CIDR notation format, would be /24. If we have IP address of 119.64.18.21, this is just some example here. So this IP address, what class is this? Looking at the first octet, 119. 119 falls into what range? Between 1 to 126. Therefore, this is class A IP address. And the default subnet mask class A is 255.0.0.0. It means this 119 is the network information, 64.18.21 is the host information. And same thing here, we talked about the 255 means network. So 192.168.1, that's the network information, and the 32, that's the host information. So in other words, if we want to write down the network address for this IP address, for the host portion, we just put 0, right? So this is the IP address, correct? It's a class C. The network address would be 192.168.1.0. And this 32, that's the host information. So 192.168.1.0 would be the network address for this IP address. If I ask you a question, can you tell me the network address for this IP address? You can pause the video. Very good. This is class A. So in class A, default subnet mask, only the first octet is the network portion, right? Therefore, if I want to write down the network address for this IP address, the network address would be 119.0.0.0. And .64.18.21, that's the host portion. So here is the IP address, and here is the network address, and here is the default subnet mask address for class A. So just remember these ranges, and again in other videos we did talk about where they're coming from, and looking at the IP address, the first octet, we can tell if this is class A, class B, or class C. And what would be the default subnet mask for class A, class B, and class C. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any question, please leave it in the comment section. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you want to see more tech videos like this, please consider subscribing to our channel. In the next videos, we will talk about the differences between private and public IP addresses. So stay tuned and thanks for watching and have a good day.